And welcome back to the workbench. The lab is a complete disaster. Got helm renovations going on. We've got other projects going on. But hey, it's October, so we've also got a pumpkin and a skull. And I ripped an Nvidia A4500 out of my main machine so that we could run it through the leaderboard tests. So let's go ahead and hop over to the lab and get that done. And welcome back to the lab, robots. Today we are going to take an Nvidia A4500 through the Mistral 7B leaderboard test. This is one of my favorite cards. I actually have 6 of them in my main system. You used to be able to pick these up fairly cheap. Now they're going for, let's see, about $1,000, $900 to $1,000. There's one for $850. These are very, very good cards. They have a very low profile, so they can fit in almost any server in dual slots and still be able to breathe with their fans. They take very low power. And frankly, I think that they're a pretty good deal for the speed that you get out of them and the power usage. So let's go ahead and take a little bit more of a look. This, again, is an Ampere architecture that has a TDP of about 200 watts. So remember that, because that's a lot less than the 3090s or the 4090s, or even that 47 I think that we tested. We have 20 gigabytes of VRAM of GDDR6. We've got 320-bit bus, 7,168 cores. Again, this is a pretty good, or were pretty good deals. Now they're getting up there in price again. Let's go ahead and jump over and we'll run it through our normal leaderboard test just like we always do and see where this lands. What I would like from you guys, if you have a guess on where the A4500 is going to land in the leaderboard, and just to let everyone know, you can always come to RoboTF.ai to see the current leaderboard or all of the report results from it. I always make that available to you guys so that you can see them. But on top, we basically have the 4090 and then the 3090 and then the 4070 Ti, followed by the 4060 Ti, at least on the FP16. So if you have a guess of where that A4500 is going to land, go ahead and put it below, and we'll figure it out as we go here. So let's go ahead and get started here. We've got the 4070, a 4500, and a 4060 in that. So we're going to need to flip over and just get device 1, which is going to be A4500. So let's go ahead and patch the deployment so that we only have that one GPU available to us. And just to remind everyone, off to the right hand side, that is Prometheus and Grafana with the Nvidia DCGM exporter. This is running in Kubernetes and watching these pods and these GPUs so that we can get much better detail on them, especially around their power usage. Down here at the lower left is NVTop. This is much more live metrics. The way that we run these tests is we run a static 100 token prompt. In this case, it's about 111 tokens due to the tokenizer of Mistral. We are going to run a 20 tests. We are going to name this report ML A4500, and this is going to be the Q3 quant where we start out. So let's go get the Q3 model. We use the same model, the same tests, the same prompts, the same machines, unless we're testing different CPUs, across all this hardware so that we can actually compare them at the end and develop that leaderboard that I showed you. So here is Q3 going to the A4500 with 20 gigabytes of VRAM. Let's get this test started out. It's going to take just a second to load up. We should see it start responding, and then we'll let you guys get a perceptive feel of how the Q3 7B quant feels on an A4500, and then we'll fast forward through the test, let you see the very last one where it settled out to be, basically about its average, which is what we're looking for. We're not looking for the fastest test, we're looking for average. We are also, again, not testing accuracy in these tests. We are just testing hardware back to back to back to back to see the differences that we can get. All right, let's let this load up. As you can see, it's taking about 5 gigabytes of VRAM down there. And there it goes. First one back at about 66 evaluation tokens per second. Let's see if that follows up. We know it's going to settle down much more than that, or much less than that as the average. Again, 66 tokens per second. Let's go ahead and kick it into fast forward mode. We'll come back for the 20th test and let you guys feel where it settled out. And this is the final test. Still cruising right along. Let's see what it settled out to be. At the end, it was about 51.5 tokens per second. All right, let's generate this report. And then we'll immediately go set this up for Q4 and rinse and repeat. So let's go ahead and cycle the pod so that we get nice fresh logs and results. Let that come back and we'll double check our GPUs. Yep, still got the A4500. Let's go ahead and select the Q4 model. And there's the Q4 KM. As we can see up here, let's change the model report name to Q4, and then we'll rinse and repeat. So this is the Mistral 7B on the Q4 quant, running on an Nvidia A4500. Let's get this started out. It's going to take just a minute to load up. If you guys were paying attention at all in the last test, these cards were running at about 199 watts during the Q3 inference. So that's right up against its TDP, but that is expected with these cards and they do fairly well at that. So 200 watts, and we'll probably continue to see that throughout all of these tests. And here goes Q4. Taking up just under 6 gigabytes of VRAM, coming back at 76.5 tokens per second. Again, 76.5 tokens per second. Let's go into fast forward mode and come back at the last test. And this is the final test. Just cruising right along. I really like these A4500s. They're also really quiet. And the last one comes back at about 58 tokens per second. Let's go ahead and produce that report. And we'll cycle the pod and get right into Q5 testing. All right, let's go ahead and grab the Q5 model. There we go. Still got the A4500. Let's change the report name. Hit enter. And again, we'll run the same exact tests, except for this time we're on the Q5 quant using the Nvidia A4500. Give this just a minute to load up. And here we go on the Q5. It's using about just over 6.5 gigabytes of VRAM. Still cruising right along, using about 200 watts, just as we've seen with the other quants. But just flying. 69 tokens per second, 68 tokens per second. Let's kick this into fast forward mode and I'll see you guys for the last test in Q5. And here's the final test at Q5, still cruising right along. Again, using about 199 to 200 watts really. Final test coming in at about 54.5 evaluation tokens per second it looks like. Let's go ahead and produce that report, add it to our list. Don't worry, we're going to take all of these reports at the end and put them all together so we can see them in one big report. Let's go ahead and cycle the pod. We'll continue on and start to move into the Q6 quant. Let that come back and we'll double check that we still have the right GPUs. Yep, there's the A4500. Let's go select the Q6 Mistral model. Q6. Change our report name. And we'll go back, do this all back to back, just like we normally do. Let's get Q6 loaded all up. I know the A4500 is not going to perform up to the 3090 or the 4090. It probably will not be able to beat the 4070 Ti Super either, but it does have slightly more VRAM and it's an older card. That's what makes these type of tests and the leaderboard kind of exciting, so that we see what is going on and where all of these cards rank. Same exact model, same exact node running them. First one back at about 62 evaluation tokens per second, using about 7.3, maybe even 7.4 gigabytes of VRAM down there. Again, 62. Let's kick it into fast forward mode. We'll come back at the end of Q6. Alright, and that one finished up at just about 49 tokens per second. Let's go ahead and produce that report. Let's cycle the pod and we'll jump right into Quant 8. Okay, let's go select the Q8 model. And Q8. Make sure we're still showing the A4500. Change our report name. Let's go ahead and get this starting loaded. And here we go. This is Q8 Mistral 7B on an A4500. It's using just over 9 gigabytes of VRAM. First one back at 54 tokens per second. Let's see where the second one comes back in at. This is just cruising. This is why I love these cards. Second one back, 53. Let's go ahead and kick this into fast forward mode and we'll come back at the end and let you guys feel it. Alright, and that was the final one on Q8, coming back at just over 44 tokens per second. Not too bad, not too bad at all. Let's go ahead and produce that report, and we'll get right into FP16, which is the final round of tests, and then we'll gather up all of these reports, put them into one so that we can see them, and then we'll go add the averages from that into the leaderboard. All right, all back, A4500. Let's go select the FP16 model. And there we go. Change our report name, FP16. And get this started off. So this is our last round of test on this prosumer / enterprise level card, which does have its own benefits. And the FP16 flying in here, using just under 17 gigabytes of VRAM. First one back at 33.4 tokens per second. This is just cruising on an FP16 model using about 200, 198, 199 watts. Second one back at same thing, about 33.3. Let's kick this into fast forward mode and I'll come back and let you guys feel the last one. And there we go, settling out at about just about 29.5 tokens per second on FP16 for this Nvidia A4500. Let's go ahead and produce that final report, and then we'll go take all of those reports and put them all together so that we can see them all on one graph. So let's do that. Let's expand this out a little bit, and we'll go over to report management. Okay, let's go find all of those reports and put them into one. So there's Q3, Q4, Q5, Q6, Q8, and FP16, ML A4500, 20 gigabytes. Let's combine those files into one, and let's hop over and take a look at the results on the A4500, and then we'll add it to the leaderboard and see if I spent my money in the right place. Scroll down, get the A4500. Okay, this is the prompt evaluation time. Since we leave that first result on here, it's basically showing us the loading time in between the different quants. If we were to take that first result off, we would have a much lower scale here, but this is always a decent one to look at. So we have FP16 in brown, Q8 in purple, Q6 in red, Q5 in green, Q4 in orange, and Q3 in blue, and it'll be like that for all of these reports that we look at. All right, let's go ahead and hop over to the evaluation time. We can see FP16 taking a little bit longer as expected, but the rest of them are grouped in there quite well. Total time, again, FP16 taking a little bit longer. Rest of them grouped in there, again, quite well on this card. Prompt tokens evaluated is 111 across the board of all these tests. Completion tokens is going to be mimicking the length of the response that you get, not the accuracy, but the length. And you can see that even across all the different quants, it's looking pretty tight in there. There's our total tokens. Prompt token per second comparison. Wow, look how grouped up that is in this card. These A4500s are pretty darn good. And what everyone's waiting for, the evaluation tokens per second. Again, we have FP16 down at the bottom at just under 30 tokens per second. It looks like Q8 was falling in at about 45 tokens per second. We have Q6, and then Q3, and then Q5 and Q4 settling up to be about the fastest up there at just under 60 tokens per second. All right, why don't you guys give me just a moment, and I'm going to take this data, we'll add it to the leaderboard, and then we'll figure out if this enterprise or pro consumer level card, which does come with benefits from that, and where it actually lays down on there. If you have a guess, go ahead and put it down below, and then we'll get to it in just a minute. Alright, and just to remind everyone, you can always come to RoboTF.ai and you can see the leaderboard or the reports from any of these videos. Let's go ahead and refresh this so that we get the latest data, and we'll go take a look at the Q3 leaderboard first and see where this A4500 fell. And let me go ahead and increase this so that you guys can see this a little bit better. Alright, it fell right below the 3090 when it comes to the Q3 board, in fourth place with an average of 55 evaluation tokens per second using about 199 watts, and that's the same across all these quants for this card. It basically sat there at 199 watts. I put down that it cost about 850 bucks. I got some of my cards cheaper. We've seen them on eBay go for that. We've seen them go for more. If you're shopping for those cards, remember, when those enterprise level sellers are selling them, make them an offer. I got mine cheaper that way. All right, let's switch over to the Q4 board, see if it's much of the same story. It is in the fourth place, just under that 4070 Ti, which is a much newer card. The A4500 comes in at 61, almost 62 evaluation tokens per second at about 199 watts. These are pretty good. Look at that, fourth place. Go to Q5. Same thing, falling in at fourth place, just barely behind that 4070 Ti Super. at 57.7 evaluation tokens per second. Again, 199 watts. Take a look at Q6. Whew, yeah. Again, fourth place currently at 52, almost 53 evaluation tokens per second at 199 watts. And remember, this is the average across all of those tests that we ran. Let's go take a look at Q8. Solidly in fourth place at 47 tokens per second and 199 watts. And the final one, the FP16 board, again, solidly in fourth place. But look at that, 30.5 tokens per second. The 4070 Ti is 34, almost 35, but that 4060 below it is at 16.7. So this is a pretty good, guys. If you like this leaderboard series, do me a favor, hit like and subscribe. It's free to you. It will help out the channel, get it out there. It'd be great if you guys want to share this board for the community. We're trying to get more tests through here, so there's more coming. Hope you guys enjoy. Till next time, remember to buy your AI a pizza. It'll help your relationship.